Welcome back, War on the Sea. Guys, it's been what, a month and 2 weeks since we've had War on the Sea. We had that big live stream, right? So let's just run through and remind everybody of what's going on. This is the Doge Task Force, Battle Group, Squadron, whatever you want to call it. It's basically the centerpiece is the Alabama, surrounded by a couple of heavy-hitting cruisers with pretty good reload. And those are Northamptons. I think there's a Helena in there, just in front. Just for absolute mass DPM, and then surrounded by Sommers. That group has not seen action yet. It will see action this episode. Next, we got, obviously, we got to have Fat. We got to have his squadron in here, right? We got to have a CV. This is a Wasp. It has not seen action. It won't see action this episode. I'm shocked it hasn't seen any action. But so far, the battle group, the two that we have, they've kind of kept the Japanese at bay. So, and we've got Nutty here. He's protecting a port. Shady Ninja's protecting a port. Shady's going to have a bomb episode, right? Who is this down here? This is Spady. Spady is going to have a little bit of action this episode. So it's going to be a fun one. That's kind of the overall recap of what's going on. Obviously, we got Dakota's squadron here from the live stream. We actually had a head-to-head at like 6 miles with a whole IGN task force. We lost a couple of ships. We probably need to get that swapped out. Dakota took quite a bit of damage. But that's kind of what a battleship's made to do. We lost secondaries on one side. Past that, everything else got repaired. So we decided to just go ahead and keep it out there, right? Keep it out there. Keep it in the fight for now. And we will swap out battleships if we need to, right? We have several others we can bring out. Okay, now you're caught up. Let's get to playing the game. Let's see how far we can make it. Okay, so off the rip here, Doge has run into something. It's in the middle of the open. I have no idea what this is going to be. Could be a sub, could be something else. We'll just have to wait and see what pops up. Everyone's got their radars already on by default. So any ships, any airplanes, they'll get picked up in the first few seconds. Now that we're not seeing anything, now I'm kind of thinking this might turn out to be a sub. So these sub engagements, they always try to target the centerpiece. Torps in the waters reported. I'm looking, I see them. Now we need to get people out of the way. Get out of the way. We don't want to take torps. Torps in this game are so brutal. If you take a torp, you may as well take that ship and send it home, go to dry dock. Even one torpedo, right? Because they just absolutely wreck you, and you won't be able to travel across the ocean very fast at all. I think all these fleets, they do about 25. If one ship takes a torp, no matter, from what I've seen, destroyers, they get wrecked. You lose all speed. Cruisers, or even a battleship, you'll be knocked down to like 12 knots, right? And that's absolutely horrible if your enemy can do 25, 30. So this ended up being a pretty easy dodge. As you can see, now we just need to make sure nobody bumps into each other, because that does happen, and when people bump into each other, that causes quite a bit of damage. Luckily, we've got our... This is why I have these destroyers out in front of the task force, right? Because that's where all the subs will come from. And then it's as simple as get one guy on the brakes, on the phones, lighten them up, and then just send the other destroyers right over the top, right? That's all you got to do. It looks like this is a guy is actually going to go underneath this destroyer. So just bow him out, see if you get a hit. I mean, the depth charges are basically free. It's just a cost of rearming them, and they give you quite a few. It's not like the movie Greyhound, where they run out after they throw 2 patterns. I mean, I have had to rearm, but I've killed a lot of subs in the meantime. I mean, yeah, you can go like half the war pretty much and never have to rearm depth charges. You can see we got quite a bit of damage going on. Those depth charges were perfect. His screws are dead. Yeah, we lost him on the phones, but unless this guy surfaces, and if he surfaces, he's dead, right? Or he's just gonna sink. Oh, I know what that noise is. He just blew his ballast tanks. Oh, well, rip. Okay, Shady is chasing down a group of DDs. Shady's gonna be the first ship-on-ship contact happening early on in the episode. Love to see it. So we just basically got 2 Fletchers. Let's see what we're up against. Tell them to cease. Cease, relax, let's find out what we're dealing with. Okay, so old school World War One. This is more modern World War II and then World War One. So it's like, looks like Kamikaze, Matsuki type ships. I don't fear those when it comes to this game, especially against two Fletchers. So at this point, just let them have it, guys. Absolutely let them have it. These guys are pretty close. They're around 11,000 yards. The Fletcher carries a lot of ammunition. I do like to do a lot of manual firing. I'm going to go ahead and get them to drop a smoke screen. The reason I do the smoke screen is because it affects the target lock. Whenever you see me go back over to the target page, the gun page on the Fletcher, take a look on the left side of that page. You'll see a percentage. And there's a lot of factors that go into that, but that is how your shells are not necessarily grouping, but your target's future track, if you will. Because the guns are pinpoint accurate. Okay, now there's dispersion blooms, but we can manipulate that bloom. You can see me, I'm gonna try and maybe throw a pattern just because, and then I'm like, no, it's not worth it, because the flight time of these shells, the reload of these guns, the range of the targets, you can see we got 90-something%. You can throw them into spot, which spot is they fire one salvo. Then the gun director can see that land, and you'll see here in a second, I'll actually go into binocular mode, and that's what they see, and then they can adjust based on where that hit and based on what that ship is doing, and that sometimes can give you your last 10, 15%, because if you have it up near 100%, and you have a quick reload like we do on the Fletcher here, like this fight here is so unfair. It's so heavily skewed to the Fletchers. Not saying these guys can't do a lot, but the fact that they don't have smoke deployed, I already have smoke deployed, so I know they cannot get to 100%. Now you can see I'm going to shuffle these guys in and out, and there's a reason for it. Now you can see as well, my guys are targeting one specific person at a time. I'm going to go ahead and throw some torps here, just because I never use them, and why not? Sometimes you can get lucky. I think I've hit like one torpedo my entire life that came off of a boat like this, so... usually because I'm on the attack, right? Like, I'm never on the retreat. And these torps suck, so there's also that. But you're going to see me shuffle these two around, right? We're going to play a little game of cat and mouse. Because what the enemy is going to do, they're going to target whoever is closest, right? It's the fire at will type thing. You can see we're landing lots of good shots in this Kamikaze. Just peppering him to death, basically. And when they do that, when they shuffle in and out who they're targeting, it will actually mess with their director, and they will lose percentage. They'll lose their accuracy. You see, there's no shells landing around this guy now, which is giving our damage crews plenty of time to get in there and start fixing the things that were damaged, because we took a few shots, right? And that's not that big of a deal. And you can still see in the bottom left, the main director is still locked on to Kamikaze. Here I want to throw maybe a couple salvos just to kind of get an idea. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, you're throwing a Fletcher shell of 152 millimeters, 11,000 yards, so it's basically 2 miles. It takes a long time to get down range. And you can see a little splash there. I kind of give this up, honestly, because it's such an uphill battle, and it's so not worth it for me. Now, if I had bigger shells, if I had a higher caliber, something that could go down range a lot faster, I would be more interested. But these Fletchers, you can see my target lock, 90%. What do I have, like a 4-second reload? 5-second reload? That is so much DPM if I'm open up on the broadside, and I can fire 10 rounds every, even say 5 seconds. There's simply not going to be many destroyers in the game that can counteract that. Plus, the Americans are known for their accuracy. And I think this fight right here, and there's another fight later on with Shady's squad that really, I mean, it really does show you that the Americans were just on a whole nother level when it comes to accuracy. Now here you can see I've shifted, because Kamikaze's like basically out of the fight. I've told him to shift off Kamikaze. I'm going to tell this guy to go to spot mode here. Like I said earlier, spot mode's when you fire just one salvo and you wait. fire salvo and wait. But you also see how number 3 is identified Kamikaze, and it got wrecked, right? Well, okay, we just identified number 1. That's gonna bring that targeting director in a lot. Something like 30 or 40%. And yes, you could go out there and find the ship and identify number 1 and number 2. But the reality of it is, when you're in kind of engagements like this, you're knife fighting, your main director is going to do it. It may not be instant. Sometimes it does take, a couple minutes, but in the reality, it's just not that big of a deal. Just let the AI do it. Let them identify, especially when it comes to something like Fletcher that carries, I think, 450 in the front 2 guns and then 750 in the rear 3 guns or something like that. That's a lot of shells, especially when you're talking how accurate these guys are and what they're going to be fighting. I mean, I'm not going to send Shady up against a carrier and a battleship. I mean, that would be nuts, because unlike what happened in real life, the Johnson got hit, and from what I remember, they were shooting either AP or they were shooting something that was going through the ship. The shell fuse timer wasn't set correctly, something of that nature. They did obviously get dialed in, right? But I'm talking just initially. Well, one battleship shell, whether it be AP or be HE, will arm in a destroyer, and it will absolutely cut it in half. But that adds to the realism. That's why I like this game so much. Okay, so ooh, we're getting hit. Let's get a damage report here. I'm thinking here, should I cycle in this guy to target number 2? And I saw 99% lock, and so I'm like, no. Wow, I mean, that's a lot of damage. It's all repairable, but we need to cycle him. We need to get him out and bring this guy in, right? Because we just don't want to be taking lots and lots of damage. You can actually overwhelm damage. How are you alive? Hello, submarine or kayak. If you get too much fire or too much flooding going on, and each ship only has a certain number of damage control parties, the fire and the flooding can run away, and at that point you've lost your ship, right? So making a nice little turn here, had to throw the brakes on for just a second just to help that turn get in there. We're going in, he's coming out. They both have their smokes on still. So as this guy turns away and he's more kind of behind that smoke cloud, it should, theory, help him not get hit, and this guy's taking the lead. You can see no shells are landing around him, probably because the Japanese are now targeting this guy, which I've told him to also switch to number 2. I think he is in spot mode. That's why he's firing 1 salvo and he's holding. See, we're reloaded. Never mind, I took him out of spot mode. So he is just whamming and bamming. Look at that percentage, though. I mean, it instantly went to 99%. You can never get to 100% in this game. 99 is the best you can get, but if you're holding something like 99, they're going to be really accurate. And I mean really accurate. Like, me doing manual firing at my absolute best, I don't know if I can beat 99, to be real honest. The only downside, and one thing I will say about when it comes to the AI, when they have 99%, they will shoot the exact same spot. So, for instance, if I'm hitting a bigger vessel, something like this probably doesn't matter that much, because the normal dispersion bloom is about the size of this ship, left and right. Now, when it comes to shooting like a battleship or a carrier, or cargo ships don't really matter. When it comes to shooting those, you will hit the same. If you're hitting the back 2 turrets, right, like what's happened in this playthrough, you will hit the same spot and you will not be doing anything more. You've already knocked out the guns. Maybe you're trying to go for a magazine explosion. Maybe. But that's where manual fire, you can actually drag and say, hey, hit the middle of the ship. Hit the front part of the bow. And you can see the Fletchers now just absolutely ripping this guy apart. Some nice looking shots here of the Fletcher. Sailing, dropping a smoke screen, laying down the law. You love to see it. Hey, there you go. Down he goes. All right, very good. Now, let's go look at this other guy. I don't understand how this other guy is still alive. How are you alive, sir? Oh, here comes the bombardment. He's not going to be alive much longer. You can see this guy's gun is actually, the front gun is pointed away from us. So that gun's been out for who knows how long. If you see shells land near a boat, unlike in the popular video game World of Warships, shells actually do go through the water. There is actually splash damage, and a pretty decent amount of it too. So if you see a shell land 2 to 5 feet short, just know that shell did something. But hey, that was a good fight. Good job, Shady. Good job, dude. You're gonna see a little bit more from him later on, but that was a good, clean fight. Your Fletcher that got hit, he's gonna be fine. That's just, it's all superficial stuff. Nothing to worry about. I mentioned earlier spot mode, and this is the actual binocular. So this is kind of like you'd be looking through the director. It's obviously a little bit different, but this is what they would see in spot mode. Then they would do their calculations. Okay, we have Captain Fierce up here has got some contact. Captain has, I think, 5 submarines up patrolling, stationed outside some of the ports. Let's up scope here. Let's see if we can see. Now, this game's kind of weird because you actually have to go into the scope, I would say 60% of the time, and look for people so that you can see them on the mini-map. I don't know why it is that way, but it is that way, and that's 3 destroyers, and we're not going to fight 3 destroyers. No siree. What do we got here? So Spady has got contact. I did throw both these guys together. I see it right there, top of the screen. See a little wake disturbance up there? So it's a submarine contact, and we're going to go kill it. So it's kind of a little bit of a bait move here. So we're going to go full speed on the front guy. I know he's probably going to torp the front guy. We're going to send the second Fletcher straight at him. Full speed straight at him. And what we'll do is we'll pull one of them into sonar to torps are in the water. So now it's hard over. Full reverse, hard right rudder. Bring the ship around. We're going to slow it to sonar speed, kick on the sonar. So we will let the lead ship that was the bait now take over. And the second Fletcher will do the depth charging. As you can see, we've got both of them lined up here. We're just making sure everything is right. We're setting up the depth charges, stuff like that. This is by far my favorite tactic. The bait and switch kind of thing. Okay, let's go ahead and start rolling patterns. We're set to 17 seconds. He's at 246. I don't remember if it's 15 or 17 for around 250. Just quickly, do some patterns. We'll bring this guy back around. We'll start this guy going hard over as these depth charges go off. We'll go down and look and get our this is how we get our depth gauge whenever we do the manual dropping. We actually have to go and look. So you can see they're blowing up right next to him, maybe a couple below him. Not really sure how we didn't get any damage because those look pretty decent. But sometimes when you drop a 3 off the back of the Fletcher, 1 falls straight down and 2 go left and right. For some reason, there is just enough of a gap between center and the left or the right. It's not a side preference, but just between those 2 depth charges, there's a little bitty window where those subs don't take damage. So we'll just bring them all back around and drop them again. Okay, we just caught the pattern down. Let's go look and see. Here they come down. I adjusted to 16 seconds, which I think should be pretty perfect, and now they're falling below. Well, there was damage. See how the back part of his ship just changed, and see how his screw just stopped? That's kind of the good indicator. Let's just keep rolling the patterns. Like I said, we have tons of depth charges. It's no skin on our ass to just go ahead and just drop as many as we want. We can go back and rearm at any point. There goes his ballast tanks. That's a good sign for us. Look at his depth here, 313 and rising. Let's see if some of these others go down and shake it up. Ooh, blow up. Oh, went right by him. That would have been a good one. Blow up. Okay, there we got center hull damage. I think that's going to do it for him. He's 270 and rising. 265. Let's just have to see if he pops up. I mean, good luck. There's some time compression. He's dead. Good job to Spady. Okay, back up north here to Shady Ninja. We are going to run down this contact. Now, I did bring up 2 Fletchers to swap out because I think your guys are getting a little bit low on ammo. You'll still hold the name, just swap out the 2 Fletchers, let them go back and rearm. That way we keep people on station 24/7. Okay, so here it is. Single contact. Rip, dude. Absolutely RIP. I'm not going to even mess with anything. I'm just going to let them do their thing. Look, he gets named here. He's 50%. He's climbing to 70%. We've got him 9,000 yards, so it's sub 2 miles. He's already a named ship with 99% lock and 4 Fletchers that feel the need. It's just like RIP. But there's no living this. Even if that's my vessel, there's nothing I can do to live this. Like, you're just dead. Like, rip, dude. I will turn up the volume and let you guys enjoy this bombardment. Yeah, that kind of went exactly as I thought it would. Jumping around now, looks like Cap F here actually has seen something up north, but I catch a glimpse of this fading. We're going to task up Doge, and we're going to send Doge straight at him. That could be a bit of a problem. It's going to put us in reach of... His airplane's obviously going to reach us, but it's going to put us in reach of the carrier, the land base right there's aircraft. I think that's a level 4, so they have some pretty good airplanes. That could be a bit of a problem. Let's go north and look at this. That says Battleship Convoy. Let's take a look-see real quick and see what we see. Don't tell me this is Ho. Don't tell me Captain Fierce. Oh, no. I see him on the horizon already. Zoom in, see what they are. Not much there. I mean, a lot of, like, cargo, right, obviously. This is... No, that's not their number 1. That's number 3. That's the number 1. I have no idea what that ship is. I have absolutely... First glance, no idea. I've never seen that in the game. Ever. Some pretty cool ships you see there. That's just Tokyo Express mod, adding stuff to the game. Pretty neat. I'm trying to kind of evaluate here based on what I see, who I want to go for. They've got a pretty big separation, so I'm not really sure. Yahagi. It's a Yahagi. I would never have guessed that. At this point, it's just kind of wait. I'm just checking the range of the torps, and they all look pretty decent. I'm ranging it out. So 8.4 for the longest. I think the torps are like 7.9 or something like that, max range. I'm going to throw the back set of torpedoes and the front set of torpedoes. And the reason I like to do that is I like to throw out just blooms of torps, because I don't care if you have 99% target lock in this game. You're throwing torps out of a sub. Probably 70% of the time, those torps will go behind whoever it is you're trying to torp. And that's with 100% target lock. And I cannot manually fire torps. I just can't do it. So we're going to wait for these torps here to come past us, right? Or at least get close to even. That way we can launch the front, and they'll be pretty close. There we go. Let's fire them. So 6 torps in the water, plus 4 torps that came out of the back of the sub. Once these get clear, we'll turn to the south, and we'll just start moving and kind of watching and waiting, and we'll check back in as soon as these torps are getting nearest their target. Hopefully, no duds. So we're just time compressioning through. The torps made it through the destroyer gap perfectly. Now, what are they going to hit going forward? I'm not really sure. Looks like there might be a gap here. We might actually miss this guy off the bow and the stern. Wow, look at that. I'll be real honest. That doesn't happen very often. And that's actually a really good thing, because as soon as one ship is hit, they all freak out and they turn. Usually they turn away. Looks like we're going to get maybe a couple torps to hit the Yahagi. I think it's going to take 2 to 3 to sink. Probably more towards 3. Let's see. Any duds? There's an explosion. Come on. Dud. And that's the American torpedo life. It's pretty lackluster. Honestly, the subs don't do all that much. They're kind of up there more for recon and surveillance, to be real honest, than they are actually sinking things. Now, that being said, there's a good torp hit. That being said, though, I mean, I have done a couple pretty cheeky things with subs in the past. You know, if you can get close to something like a carrier group or battleship group and you manage to land a bunch, it's possible that you can sink them. It's just not very practical. Let's load this up. Another engagement possibility. Is this the same group? I think this might be the same group, since we were just here and launched torps on them. Let's take a look. Yeah, there's the Yahagi. Yep. So, same group. Round 2. Let's see. Let's get all the torps fired. Torps are in the water. Torps are all in the water. And we had a really high target lock, too, this time. We had, I think, a higher target lock than we did before. So, here they are. Here you go. So, 99 lock. One hits dud, they all go behind. And this front 4 was 100% target lock, and they're all going to go behind. And that is the life of the American torpedo boat. That is why I don't like to use them much. Sadness. Well, I thought that's what happened. So we're being launched on by, I think this is the carrier. Whoa. Okay. Oh, you are in a bad spot, buddy. Holy. There's not much we can do about this. You know, so one thing I will say about when you have big groups, you can't do a whole lot as far as turning. So, like, when you're getting attacked by airplanes, best thing you can do is turn. Turn and hit the gas to maximum. And you can see I'm thinking about doing some manual firing here. I'm just thinking about it, but I don't know. I haven't taken the guns out of fire for effect yet, and they're about to go off with 90% target lock. Gotta love that sound. I don't think there's much I can do there. I'll just save the battleship ammo. We have so many people that's going to be firing at this guy. You know, he's a World War I craft. He's not going to take more than like one hit. Plus the shell time on target for, what is that, 16,000 yards. I mean, you're talking 3 miles. That's pretty ridiculous. And this guy, he's only doing 24, so it makes it a little easier, but not great, okay? Now, you got to realize now the shells that are landing now is whenever you had super high target lock on the Alabama. Everyone else has that same target lock. So, that's 99% at 3 miles. Dude. Rip, dog. Rip. I'm not sure if the Alabama hit. There was one really big explosion. That's usually battleship shells. It did fire HE, and he's dead. So let's go back and look. I'm not sure how these airplanes can fly over that amount of machine gun fire and AA and get away with it. Some of them didn't, some did. Waller's got a contact. This is a free-floating destroyer. I haven't assigned him to anywhere, so I just put him on this base for now. We're going to have a sub, and it's going to be bait and switch. Done it a bunch, running them down here. Pretty standard anti-submarine tactics, especially when you catch them in close quarters here. There's not much they can do. Running by him here, trying to get depth charges down to him. Obviously, we lose him on sonar when we go past him. We got a pretty decent depth, and we're just going to drop and kill him. Not much to it. So, I mean, somehow this guy is taking quite a few depth charges, and he's getting away with it. That one hurt him. That stopped his screw, so now we just got to watch. Super rare. He's surfacing, and he's going to make it to the surface. He blew ballast tanks, and he's going to make it. That never happens. This is a super, super rare thing here. Manual fire, obviously. Target. Guns are spinning. He shoots us. We blast him. Okay. Blast him again. And then you talk about target practice. So we're hitting the same spot. Let's move the guns forward. There you go. There you go. Forward. Hit the bow. Poof. Bye. I love manual fire. Doge is under attack by more airplanes, and this is kind of the big problem with these big task groups, task forces. Whenever you give chase to a carrier group, they just sit there and throw airplanes at you, and it's really, really difficult to catch them, if you even can, because some of those carrier groups are disgustingly fast. Here's a little head-to-head. I'm going to activate the guns manually. Oh! Boy, you're lucky. I've pulled the fleet off. We're headed south again. This is a big problem. So these are land-based, and these are torpedoes, and they're really effective. I dropped the DD south to try and cut these guys off, but again, there's nothing I can do. And since we're headed away, this is actually the best kind of torpedo drop for the AI, because they will drop them literally on top of your boat, and there's just nothing you can do about it. You see they're going for the Alabama. That's not good, to be real honest. That's just not good. And there's not going to be anything I can do about this. I can try to maneuver, but it's, you know, it's not an arcade game. These things take a long time to turn, and they're just not made to be maneuverable. Maybe, no. Don't take out the prop, please. Okay, we'll see where that hits. We got another set to dodge here, maybe, depending on if it's coming at us. Oh, okay, so that's actually, we're fine. We can stay in the fight. Oh! Kamikaze! No! Oh, you're lying to me. That's not good. That's just not good. That's a permanent. So that's a rudder and a screw, plus a lot of flooding. We're swapping out Alabama. It has to go to the shop. It has to go dry dock. I talked about it at the beginning of the episode. It just happened. Alabama's getting dry docked. And just like that, without even shooting at anything, unfortunately. Now, it didn't take much damage, so it will be back in the fight in just a couple of weeks, but it still needs to get repaired. Now, I'm debating North Carolina? Do we bring in North Carolina? Yeah, let's do it. Bring in North Carolina. We'll put it in the group, and I'm gonna actually rearrange a little bit here. I'm gonna rearrange the squadrons so that the two heavies are parallel, and the light is in front. The light was in front before, but we will have two heavies on each wing, so we'll swap them out 1 and 8 for the heavies, or 1 and 7 for the heavies rather. 1 will be the battleship, 2 will be the light cruiser, and then the right wings, left and right echelon, basically, those will be our destroyers. In an effort not to make the video too long, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there. That's 33 minutes of gameplay. I appreciate all you guys that enjoy this content. I'll wrap it up with just some cinematics of our brand new battleship coming in. This thing might be going head-to-head against Yamato. To be real honest, it might be, because I know that fight's coming up. And just to wrap it up, let's hear those guns go off. Appreciate you all. See you in the next one.